Hello, guys. We're Team 2, and today we are going to talk about our final project, the text-guided art generation. So in our project, we have two parts. We have a generative model, which takes a text prompt and output an image that correlates to the prompt. Then we will have an image transformer to transform the style of generated image into some artwork. In our case, we will use VQGAN plus Clip as the generative model and the Paint transformer as the image transformer. So let's first talk about the first part. And one of the most important backbone of the generative model is the vector quantized generative adversarial network. So an important component of VQGAN is VQVAE, which is a variational autoencoder we talked in class. Unlike the original variational autoencoder, it doesn't try to optimize some distribution parameters like a Gaussian mixture, but it actually uses fixed length embeddings. So in practice, we will extract the image features, try to find the nearest neighbor among those embeddings and map it to create a vector quantized feature. Then finally, we will use a decoder to reconstruct the image. So in VQGAN, VQVAE is part of it. Shown in the bottom of the image, we have the encoder, decoder plus the vector quantization as the VQVAE. But in order to make it to become a GAN, we also need a convolutional network discriminator. And it will take the generated image and output a matrix saying which part is real and which part is fake. We also have a transformer. It's actually used to predict the long-range interaction. So it will take the codebook of the vector quantization procedure and the encoding of each sample image. Then it will calculate the conditional probability of each step. So after training, the transformer can actually predict and recover the image if it is cropped. But here we don't actually need a transformer because the VQGAN plus Clip only use the GAN part of VQGAN to generate image without considering any kinds of long-range interaction. Next, we'll talk about Clip, which is actually a classifier. So the basic idea is we have a text encoder and an image encoder. Both of them will take the text or an image and output some tokens. In training, we will try to train and compute the correlation between those tokens. And during testing, since we have the classes for those image, we will take those class words and replace it into some sentence like here. It says a photo of some objects. We take this sentence into the text encoder, and it will output some tokens. Finally, we use a zero-shot prediction to predict which sentence gave the best score, and that's the correct prediction. And we want to combine it with VQGAN. So the basic procedure is we will first start with some random latent code Z, use VQGAN to generate some image, and use Clip to give a score about the correlation between the generated image and our text prompt. Finally, we will compute the loss and use backpropagation to optimize the latent code Z.
So after we can generate a reasonable image from user inputs, we can proceed to generate an oil painting process of this image. This process is based on another paper, and the core model used is called Paint transformer. To paint an artwork, we need to let machine to mimic the drawing process of a human painter, that is, using a sequence of strokes with different angle, orientation, color, and of course orders. The following diagram is a general framework of the paint transformer. The stroke predictor could generate a series of strokes to transform canvas image to a target image. So it is the which part of the stroke, and the stroke renderer is controlling the actual painting process, applying the series of strokes given by the stroke predictor. So it is a how part. We can train the stroke predictor in order to let it predict as accurate strokes as possible. And the stroke renderer is a fixed model. The following diagram is the structure of the stroke predictor, where we can sample from the next slide, please. The following diagram is a painting process where we can sample from the target image and then sample from the corresponding area on the canvas and pass two samples of the stroke predictor to get a sequence of strokes to transform from canvas image to a target image. And then we can render the stroke to mimic the actual painting process. So we have two kinds of the loss function. Would you like to go back and back? The pixel loss is used for generating a paint as real as possible, as this stroke loss is used for add some abstraction and artistic style in the painting. Previous slide, please. So the following diagram is the structure of a stroke predictor, where the convolutional neural network is used to generate image features and positional information. The encoder is used to calculate the image difference between the target image and the canvas image. And the decoder is used to giving output of the prediction of sequence of strokes. So back to the overview of our result. As an overview, the whole training process does not require labels. So the dataset can be completely random generated noises. And we follow the paper to use a no dataset approach and to train our model, combined with another dataset called media places. So we train two models based on the paper, based on the approach. And it turns out that the quality of the dataset doesn't matter, and the number of the sample matters. So actually, the mini places has achieved great painting result, but the no data set approach is actually closer to the actual input. So at last, we can give you all an overview of our demo on the Colab.
So for the VQGAN part, we actually use CIFAR10 as dataset to train the model we constructed. But since the dataset is really small, the performance is not that well. So here we use the pre-trained VQGAN model and pre-trained clip model to actually generate some pictures. So the prompt is a rabbit on the grass. And here is our result. And back to the paint transformer.
So after we get the result from the clip and VQGAN, we can pass the image into a paint transformer. As you all can see in our demo, my demo created a oil painting of the image generated from the last part. So also the user can receive a GIF file of the whole painting or whole oil painting process for download. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you all for listening.